The Dwarf Academy is here. It's the 13th episode. We were just talking about the wonders of the flora and fauna that's spawned since we've breached the chasm. We've brought some turkey hens into this turkey hen area, and we're going to build some nest boxes once we've got them. We've queued them up through the job queue, waiting for our new manager, the guy we put onto the job when our old manager was attacked by an elephant. He's still about, but we're just letting him get on with his mining for now. He's a pretty efficient miner. Damp stone has been located because I built underneath the river like a plonker. But you know, that's fine. We just have to be really careful, I guess, not to dig upwards. That's going to be our don't dig downwards. So if we dig to the south any further, we'll breach the river, and the river will fill our entire fort. Yeah, so that's damp stone location designation is really helpful. It's on a standard. You can toggle it off. I would not normally ever build in a layer underneath the river due to the vagaries of YouTube. Here we are. It's fine. Just have to be careful. This is going to be the barracks, and as I said in a previous episode, there's going to be a danger room to the north. To the east, there's going to be an archery range, and at the bottom is going to be a gym. So we're going to start building components for the gym and for the danger room and for the archery. The only components we need for the archery targets are blocks, I think. So we can build some archery targets. First off, Shift A in the build menu, and these archery targets are going to be made from chalk blocks because we've got loads of chalk blocks. Once they're built, we can define a run out of those archery targets, and we can define the direction in which dwarves are going to train on those targets. We don't have a squad yet, and I'm not sure. Do we have a bowyer? We have to find that there's a bowyer of high skill just wanders into the fort, but we don't have anybody who knows how to make a bow or a crossbow, which is what we'd be wanting to use. Now these have been built, or whenever they've been built. The main barracks we can build out of a bed or an armor stand or a weapons rack. So let's use a bed just for dwarviness, because we can. And we were building some doors, so we're going to start things off by just closing up the barrack room. Because we've done that, when we size the barrack, it's not going to go into these other areas, which are also going to, the northern section and the eastern section are all going to be barracks as well, separate barracks. B for barracks, B barracks. The Brave Rags is our squad. It doesn't have any members at the moment, but if we wanted to assign them to train here, we press T. That's what I'm going to do. As soon as we've got a squad, and any military dwarves, they'll hang around here in their spare time if they're not on active duty, do military demonstrations, etc. Training exercises when they are on duty, and we'll be able to use this area, but not until we've drafted some wardens, and I say wardens, military, and we're going to need crossbows and bolts for the dwarves to use in the archery targets. If we have an archery squad, we're going to need full sets of armor before we ever use a danger room, so that's a long way off. But once we can assemble a squad, we can get them in the gym, and then once we've spent some time in the gym. They can hang around, do some demonstrations. Hopefully we can find some dwarves with some skills to chuck in the mix and do some tutorials for them. If we've got some military tutors, that is, we can look into the dwarf therapist, and look at the military skills. These are the various military skills: axe dwarf, hammer dwarf, etc. There isn't anybody with anything. We've got a kill up here. That was an armadillo. We've got an ibex. So they're just things that have been killed on the surface since we've embarked. This guy is a hunter. I think these guys are probably hunters as well. They're all marks dwarves. So they've got a skill in being a marks dwarf. If we were to recruit all those guys into a platoon of archers, they would use that skill. The ambusher skill would also be useful, but they're not going to be hunting. But bearing in mind that we're on episode, I think 13 and it's year 2, and we've only killed these 2 creatures, that might be our best plan. Okay, we'll do that. We're going to draft a squad from these guys, and we're going to make them archers. Okay, that's a good idea. So the dwarves are on with all that, and let's do what I said I was going to do. So we're going to create a squad, military squad. The leader of this squad is going to be one of these guys. Kogzak. Okay, what we want to do is disable their hunting labours. We don't want any confusion between the tools that they're using for hunting and the tools that they're using for military endeavours. So, it still might happen even if we stop them being hunters because of the vagaries of the fortress. What we can do is just disable all hunters, I guess. Hunting will be, yeah. So this guy's a good hunter. These 2. So one of them, although they're not a hunter, they've got quite a few of the cool skills that we were looking for, like marksdwarvesmanship, and obviously the ambushing that we spoke about earlier, which will help them to sneak up on people. Not that I want them to do that. I think I might put these archers in a tower, or a couple of towers where they can defend the entrance from a safe distance, because we don't want too many dwarves to die at the academy. They're all valuable members of the they're all alumni or whatever it is. Anyway, I got the word bursar wrong in previous episodes. I meant warden. I think bursar's a chap who looks after the finances of the academy. I suppose that'd be me. Let's commit to not having any hunters, and let's go back to the squad. So this is tricky. Was a song, it's in this song, isn't it? This is tricky. We need to find the hunter. Put him in there. I'm not sure what the job description is going to be of those other guys that we looked at, and we might have to find them by name. The names differ sometimes somewhat from the dwarf therapist to the actual game, I believe. Or it seems that way sometimes. Often you're staring at a list of 200 dwarves, which is pretty challenging. I can't see any other hunters, so if we just go back to the military screen, have a quick look at what we were. So he was definitely a hunter, wasn't he? And then we've got Dishmab. It's these bottom 4 dwarves. So we can do it from over here. Dishmab. So they're currently listening to a story, sleeping, not doing anything really important. profession is ranger, hunter and ranger, but it may not always show the same on this screen or appear to. There's another hunter. Oh, okay, so there should be another hunter or ranger in here. Okay, so that was pretty straightforward. So once we put these 4 guys into the squad, we can equip them a uniform. They're just going to be in. We'll just leave them in leather armor. We don't have a whole bunch of leather armor. With these, with this ranged squad, armor, heavy armor certainly is going to get in the way of them moving around. Just make them slower, make them attack slower, and that's not something I'm particularly worried about if I'm going to be putting them in tower. But we need to. I think what we need to do is if we look at weapons, we're just going to give them all individual choice ranged. I think we might need to do that properly at some point. I haven't. A little bit rusty actually with these squads. So I think if I think we need to go into each one, don't we, separately? So this guy's got an individual choice. We don't want to do it. We don't want to do that. Sorry, guys. The brave rags. Equip. It's E for equip. So these guys don't have a uniform because when I created the squad, I'd said no uniform. So what we can add in to that, how do we? Okay, we add stuff from up here, don't we? So if you look at the top of the screen, it's all there. U for you assign uniforms, P for priority assignments. Okay, so if we want to add armor, we want to do Shift A. If we want to do a weapon, we're going to do Shift W. So they don't have a uniform, but we're going to ask them to take an individual choice of ranged weapon, which will basically mean because they're dwarves, they're going to find a crossbow and they're going to use that as a weapon. This is a reminder to me as to how what it was like before I knew what I was doing. It's sometimes a bit confusing, although I find that if I won't play for a year or so at a time, it comes back like a muscle memory. As soon as I start to play, my fingers just go to the correct buttons after a little while, which is sad, maybe, I'm not sure. Individual choice of ranged weapon. So as you go up, so these two, it says crossbow. For some reason, rather than individual choice ranged, but maybe because they've already got a crossbow assigned. We'll see if that works. Not going to give them any shields, armor, anything like that. We can get into this in more detail, but right now we've got 4 armed warriors ranged against our enemies. So I pressed F to go into ammunition. So the hunters, this is the hunters. These are the guys who are doing the hunting. At the moment they've got 100 bolts allocated to them, and we don't have any hunters anymore. We're not going to have hunters at this point. If we want to, we can always send out warriors out to attack any animals that we see. Like if there's another elephant, maybe we can shoot it down, or maybe not. The brave rags, we're going to add an item by pressing C. We're just going to tell them bolts, and it will automatically say 100 bolts. You can increase the amount of bolts by pressing minus or I think / says here. I think it's minus and plus. I don't. Asterisk is max, is it? Oh, that goes up in the hundreds if you press asterisk. So we don't want them to have. So it looks like it's against the hunters, but it's not. It's against the brave rags, which are highlighted in blue. 150. And then you can say that those bolts are to be used only in training or in combat as well. As it stands, so a capital C, capital T. So if we take it, we don't want to. Yeah, we're going to use the same bolts for both combat and training, and that makes it more simple. If they're in training and suddenly they're going to combat, we don't need them to be changing bolts. If you've got a bunch of steel bolts, you might want to use those for combat, and then use, say, like wooden bolts or something very low value for training. That's an option. But right now, that's it. So they're going to have bolts, and they're going to have a crossbow if they can find it. They're also going to need quivers if they haven't got them already. So we can queue up a job. A quiver. We could make some leather quivers. We don't have any. We don't have a leather workshop at the moment. But this will be like this order will remain until we've got the ability to make quivers. And then I think we probably could have bought some from the dwarf. The human caravan will probably bring them. And flasks and drinking bottles, which are things that soldiers like to have. Certainly if you're stationing them, if they're on active service, it's more efficient for them to have a drink with them and some food. What I'm going to do is set up a hotkey for the barracks, F4 and zoom. If we look back at the mine on F5, we dug these exploratory tunnels, and we've actually uncovered some more lignite. Say we wanted to prioritize fuel production before metal production, at least get a surplus going of fuel. So that I think this is bituminous coal over there, lignite. Oh, this is excellent. So we've got a lot to be going on with here with fuel. Brilliant. Things are going really well for now. Touch wood. Hubris. Gonna put some beds, which will be handy once we get some more immigrants. I don't think we've had any more. Or have we? It's quite hard to keep track. If we have a look in the pen, see if we've got some more animals here that have been brought by immigrants. A couple here that have been bought from the caravan, a yow and the yak bull. And this lamb is a pet. It'll need to graze, but I don't want it grazing up here on the surface. I don't want it to be grazing up here, because if it dies, its owner's going to be really unhappy. So I'm going to put a second pasture down here. Say there's plants growing now since we breached the cavern, and we can pasture. Press Shift P, it shows you all the animals that need to be pastured. It seems here that the straight great horn owl needs to be pastured, but it is yet to starve. So our experiment is good. The duck, there's a pet duck here. I didn't know that ducks needed to be pastured. That's sorry. I pressed Shift P, which is currently pastured. Shift G is grazers. And we're just going to show all grazers. Okay, the lamb is coming down here. We're going to try and keep the horses, these two horses, the horse child and the adult horse man, horse male. Everything else can stay up on the surface as a distraction on watch. But that's cool. Dwarves will haul those animals down to this space. That's about the end of the episode. All you dwarves and goblins and elves and kittens and puppies out there, hope you're happy. Let's all strike the earth and cheerio.